So I've already messed up and I shouldn't be here. But as mistakes go, I'll take it. Welcome to Bilbao, in the northeast corner of Spain. Bilbao's in the Basque country and it's ideally situated for cycling because it's surrounded by mountains and hills. As that very, very professional diagram just demonstrated. Bilbao's a lovely city. I arrived for a work conference. Only flight from Manchester was Friday and back the next Friday. So I arrived in Bilbao early on a Friday morning. I'd organised to hire a bike that was meant to be waiting for me at my hotel. I'd messed up and not actually clicked that I wanted them to deliver, even though I typed my hotel name in. So I phoned them and they delivered it. It was all fine. It just ended up coming much later than expected. So I did manage to set off to explore Bilbao. My route planning was rushed. Bilbao is hilly as anything, and this first climb, absolutely magnificent. It was so steep. Just no time to have tired legs from the plane, get up this absurd hill, which, magnificent. That's exactly what I love. No time to whinge, forget warm-ups, straight up, 20%, back roads. But I started to think, this isn't right, Nick. There's no way this can be the road all the way up to the road that runs on the ridgeline. And I was planning to do 100k today. So this was problematic. I was already late. I didn't have time for wrong turns. So I kept trying to sort out what I should have been doing. And that's what you saw at the beginning. Me going, God, I've done this wrong, and I'll go back down. I went back through the city, and I tried to find another way up to that ridgeline and almost rode on a motorway. So I thought, fuck it, I'll go and do one hill that's on the other side of the city. I took this cycle path, but I've not put in just how often you have to stop on this cycle path. Iconic and beautiful, but I was grumpy and I was tired, and eventually I decided, do you know what, fuck it off. Let's do a better ride tomorrow. Good morning. I am going to go out on my bike, as you can tell by how I'm dressed. It's not looking nice outside, so I'm not that excited by the idea, but I've only got 2 days with a bike here, so I'm going to try and make the most of them. Here's my bike. It's a B8, I've never heard of them. It's got 105, it's got disc brakes. Truth be told, frame is a little bit small for me. I was right in between two frame sizes, so I went for the smaller end because I thought that was safer. But I do feel like my knees are hitting the handlebars sometimes. Saddle height's fine. So yeah, that's a bit frustrating. Gears are barely indexed, the brakes are rubbing. I'm not in love with this bike, but it's fine. It is a bike for me to ride. My route for today, this is a bodge in it. Goes around the coast. Oh, we're back to Tade on Netflix. So starting and finishing in Bilbao, just out around the coast. If I can be bothered doing the full 100k in the rain, we will see. I may turn around. So far my cycling impressions of Bilbao itself were not overly positive. City's okay. I've had some pinchos. They're fine. Let's go and see what the coastline's like. Some of you are probably screaming at YouTube right now, going, Nick, you're in a fantastic city with so much culture to absorb. Why on earth are you choosing to ride your bike in miserable weather? Just forget it. Just call it a failed experiment and enjoy the indoor activities, such as one of the greatest art galleries on earth. But no, I'm here in the absolute pissing rain, because once I've decided I'm doing something, I'm doing it, even though this is clearly no fun at all. Now, on the first day I was a bit disillusioned with the roads in and out of Bilbao, and to say that this reinforced that would be an understatement. This really is the way that Strava recommends I leave the city in order to ride around the coast. It's not a motorway, it's like an A road, and I guess in the UK I'd sort of
I'd just suck it up and go for it because it's a bit of an unknown. I don't really know what the etiquette is. For what it's worth, the driving was actually really good, considering that I really felt like I didn't belong on that road. But I couldn't bring myself to enjoy it because it was a little bit stressful. But here I am, out of the city, into the suburbs, and this is the first climb that I had to do. It's a long drag, never too steep, nice and gradual. Even this, though, this is like an 80km/h road, and there's a bit of a shoulder that you can ride on. You know, driving is fine, as I say, but I never felt overly comfortable or overly welcome. The Tour de France that started in the Basque country went out around these roads, and I can see why there were so many crashes. Absolutely soaking wet, as you can see here. It was a hardship, if I'm honest with you. I'm really trying here, guys. The forecast's meant to get worse all day. I've done 20k, I've not even made it to the sea, and I think I'm going to fuck it off. Absolutely horrible. So with that, I turned around and I went back on myself. At the time that I stopped, I still felt okay. But by the time I was getting back into Bilbao, I was freezing and my hands were numb. So I'm glad that I turned around before it was too miserable. I wish I'd gone just a little bit further. If I'd continued about 500 metres, I'd have been on this awesome bridge over an estuary and I'd have been able to see the sea, but it was literally just around the next corner, so numpty that I am, missed out on maybe one of the better bits of this ride. I was hoping that when I got back to the town just outside Bilbao, I'd be able to take a different route back into the city and avoid those really horrible roads. You'll see how that goes for me in a little bit. To be fair, there are cycle paths everywhere, but a lot of the roads here feel like the worst parts of the UK, where, I don't mean in terms of quality, I mean in terms of the fact that traffic is constantly stopped for no reason. That includes if you're on a cycle path, it's just constantly interrupted, which is frustrating. I just can't ride like that. So here we go, back on that horrible road. This isn't constantly interrupted, but yeah, there's a lot of stoppages. Really feels like slow going around and about. So fine, I'm just looking forward to a warm shower back in my hotel, and I will go to the Guggenheim because it's indoors and it's iconic. What else would I do? This is the Guggenheim on my left. I just wanted to include a little bit of footage on it. And here it is in my rear view camera. So this is my failure of day 2. I rode the bike a little bit, fine. I wish I could have seen more. But at least here you can see that I've cycled right past the Guggenheim and under a creepy spider. It's a mad place. Absolutely mad place.
Okay, day 3. I've actually had breakfast this morning, which will hopefully help, because yesterday I didn't feel brilliant, and I've only got like random biscuits I've bought from the shop as ride fuel and sugar in my bottles. So yeah, I'm gonna head out in a sec. Bike's holding up okay. I've put my Garmin on an out front mount, which I didn't have previously, because it's hard to fit on the bars, but then I was really struggling to follow the navigation with it on my stem. So yeah, on the out front mount. This is the route I've got planned for today. Just out to do some different hills. I've seen another YouTuber cycle out this way, so you'd hope if there's anything that's relatively reliably good, it would be this. Weather's better, as in not raining, which is really the best you can hope for. Truth be told, if I even get out up the first climb today, I'll be happy. I have not enjoyed cycling in Bilbao. I knew it was going to be rainy. I didn't realise that the roads were going to be quite so difficult, which is maybe on me for not planning adequately. But yeah, it's just been slightly harder and slightly less fun than I anticipated. So I'll get out if I do 30k and a hill. Then yeah, that'll be okay.
Okay, day 3. It's a Sunday morning. I'm rolling through the streets. It is a beautiful city. Got it to myself. At this point, I'm just running red lights because I don't care. I'm sick of them constantly stopping me on empty roads. And at least the weather meant, I was looking around going, I can enjoy this. It's hard, I get in my own head, I get worried and I let it stop me having fun. But then here, on my way out of the city, I saw what was a club meetup. Now, something I noted about the Basque country is people really don't speak English much at all. Absolutely fine. Of course, it's not England, so I can't expect them to, but I thought I'll stop and ask those guys if my route looks okay, rather than having another falter. And what I was really hoping is they'd say, oh, just come out with us instead. Did they fuck? No, but they looked at my route on Strava and they told me that it was all cyclable, it all made sense, it was all climbs they do, so just go and enjoy myself. And they did give me some pointers. It was very broken English and me saying broken Spanish at them that's endlessly worse than their English. So here we get to the first climb of the day. Approximately 8.5 km at 6% average, so it's just over 500 metres of elevation. And it's such a weird road, I guess it's just inherently practical. It links up farms, it zips around a motorway or a train track or something, as in over and under as you weave up this hill. But yeah, it goes through farms and I guess through a little village and stuff, but it feels quite strange because there's a main way up, and it must just be that it's an ancient access road that's eventually been paved. You can see how wet it is as soon as I'm out of the city. It's so wet on these roads. And I was going to sort of have a go at these. I've got my power meter. I thought I might do some power overlays for you, but I gave up on that when everything got interrupted. What you can't see just up ahead of me is there's an entire herd of cows in the road. Farmer was just walking them from one field to the other. I am not fucking around with a herd of cows. I love cows, but I think it's healthy to be afraid of cows you don't know. There's the cow dog. Is that a thing? That dog was herding cows, so I'm going to say it's a cow dog. The farmer waved me through eventually. Very nice. Again, communicated entirely through smiles and waves and gracias. That was it. So, once that happened, I thought, you know what? Let's just enjoy seeing cycling in Spain, not pretend I'm making an effort up this hill. And this, around here, actually was the moment that my opinion on cycling around here just completely changed. It probably came across pretty clearly that I wasn't having a great time beforehand. I think partly because I was tired from travel. I'd come with unrealistic expectations of what would happen me cycling alone in an unknown place with very little planning. But even though I can be a bit of a drip, I get homesick easily, I get ratty easily when I'm away. As soon as I'm sitting on a bike, I just feel right again. It's all just sorted. As soon as I'm freely cycling unimpeded, wherever I am in the world, whatever I'm doing, it just turns off all of that negative Nick noise in my brain. And look at this. This could be Welsh if it wasn't 25 degrees. It feels like home, but different enough that it's an amazing new experience. I was completely alone here. I saw a couple of cyclists / runners, but mountain bikes mostly, and these woods are full of cows with cowbells on, but they're just grazing in the trees, in the hills. Chill as anything, they're not bothering you, but they're all around. It was amazing. I loved this climb. You come to the top here, and there's a view over Bilbao. Still early in the morning, so it's cloudy, but that made it so atmospheric. It's a shame doing a ride like this on my own, so I kept stopping to send pictures to my parents and Rhiannon because I wanted to share it with someone. It was an awesome experience. Beautiful lighting. The road surfaces just as crap as home in places. Here we go, going through some cows. Let me tell you, there's a place for chip and seal. Bilbao is the rainiest place on earth. That's not true at all, obviously, but Bilbao is very rainy. And going through those woods, it still had that nice smooth continental tarmac. Side note, that cyclist there was a local who I overtook, and he really was affronted by that. So he then came, overtook me, so I just sat on his wheel for a while. And once he realised I was doing that, he dropped me, and I thought, well, fine, it was on a descent. I'm not caning it down a descent. You do you, my friend. So yeah, the road surface up here. I was yearning for some British chip and seal, because this road is mossy as anything. made me terrified descending smooth, mossy roads, but it was annoying getting out the saddle as well. I should have told you, this is climb 2. I felt a little less isolated on this one because loads of cyclists came down it. So 7.5k, 6.4%, similar magnitude as the other one, and it comes out in a very similar place to the last one. So I took the same descent twice after this. I got very little footage of it for some reason, but it was lovely again. It was really enjoyable. It wasn't a very me climb. None of these three are. They're very steady. But it was steep enough. Over 5% is definitely a climb. I'm not going to be a prick and say it's a false flat. And dropping down then back to the estuary, there's this incredible set of cycle paths that we're well out of Bilbao. We're near a town called Portugalete, I want to say. And there's this cracking set of cycleways that clearly, are incredibly well utilised. It reminded me a lot of the greenway that we have south of Chester going into Wales. And just coming into this town, it looked very pretty but very traditionally Spanish. And we were coming up to climb 3. And it suddenly became this laid concrete. And I knock a fissure in the road, and immediately, something in my brain immediately just went, that's going to be a flat. Sure enough, it was a flat. Tubes are rubbish. On the other hand, this local cyclist, absolutely lovely fella, saw me. I sort of said, I'm okay. He really didn't speak much English. He would not go until he could check that I was definitely okay. And I don't mean I just told him. I mean, he wanted to see that my tyre was retaining air before he left. And we chatted a little bit, and he told me that his mate has the KOM up there. But he said you should do it on a mountain bike, and I thought, well, that's good enough for me to not bother. I think it was all that sort of horrible concrete. So I just sacked off climb 3. It was a loop anyway, dead end, came back to where it was. So I thought, right, on to the last climb. This is a Sunday, and my conference started at 4 o'clock that Sunday. Actually, I got that wrong. My conference really started at 4 o'clock, as in you should be there between 2 and 4. I thought, I'll get there between 4 and 5, and I almost missed the mayor's introduction. Never mind. This last climb looks absolutely awesome on Strava. So 6%, 5.8, 6 km, 5.8% average. It's the smallest of the climbs I had planned today, but it's just switchback, switchback, switchback. And it's what I'd call a B road in the UK. Like, it's enough to have a classification of road, but it's not a main road. So that's really the ideal scenario, isn't it? There's actually 2 lanes. It's actually got a decent surface. It's got some traffic going through it, but it's not a main thoroughfare. I've not put loads in because I've been droning on for 8 minutes just in this block of voice chat, so I do apologise. If you're bored, I'm sorry. I really wanted to get this video out to show you that, by the end, I loved Bilbao. I loved cycling around here. The block of getting over and out of the city is hard. I would say the city is actively bad for cycling. It's one of the worst places I've been to cycle within a city. Give me most UK cities I've cycled through over the way Bilbao was any day. But as soon as you're out, it's phenomenal, and it's not that hard to get out of. So climbing up here, I was thinking again, this is not a me climb, this is a continental climb, and yet the view's just stunning. I was having a great day, and I felt like I'd actually achieved what I wanted to from my trip to Bilbao. My conference was good. I learned to enjoy Pinchos a bit more later on. I still feel like I needed a meal, not a snack. I got bored of having snacks every day, but it was a great time. So yeah, I hope my my not very good video sharing my experience of cycling there will inform you if you want to cycle in the Basque country. I would not pick it as a destination, but if I was there again, I would cycle again, if that makes sense. It's not a cycling destination I would recommend, honestly, but there's some phenomenal cycling to be had, so do try and make the most of it. Sorry for the quality of this video, it's very poor. I think my sound quality is bad, my footage quality is bad, it's very amateurish. I just wanted to put it together as quickly as I could to make sure I got it sorted before I'm away for a month, and it'll never happen, unfortunately. Yeah, this was Bilbao. Please enjoy the views from this outro. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you at some point. This isn't quite the top of the hill, but it's a nice viewpoint. Hill goes just up there. There's a funicular railway that goes up and down here. So if you like a beautiful windy switchback descent, but you don't want to have to climb it, you can get the railway up and descend. Or if, like me, you love a climb and the thought of descending this fills you with terror, the funicular down is looking quite promising. I would have loved to climb up and funicular down, but I'll descend it. Today's gone much better. It's beautiful out here. It's absolutely beautiful. The landscape is amazing. The roads are just as shit as home, which in a way is reassuring. I don't understand putting the smooth continental tarmac down in the rainiest place on earth. Everywhere's just mossy. Chip and Seal has a place. God, that was fucking Alan Partridge Central, wasn't it, in my opinion on road surfaces? It's not all gone to plan. Climb number 3 I was meant to do was rutted concrete, and I got a pinch flat. Tubes are shit. I've had 3 punctures in 3 weeks on tubes. I've had 1 puncture in 12 months on tubeless, and I've done many more miles on tubeless. People who say tubeless isn't there yet are living 10 years ago. Tubes are outdated, in my opinion. So it's onward now, home. Got this conference in, registrations in 3.5 hours. So downhill, fingers crossed that I don't puncture because I don't have a spare tube anymore. But 2 more minutes to take in this view. Bilbao down there. And then the various towns up the river, out to the sea. I should have filmed this, but that's a velodrome, outdoor velodrome, signposted in this town. Very cool. So yeah, I'm glad I've finally got a day worth cycling. It's lovely. It's made me enjoy myself a lot more. Right, I best get back on.